So today we're going to use that old V1. Listen, this is a great option for you, but somebody asked me, how do I control the flash power on this in shoots when I'm shooting like this and not slow down? So I'm going to show you how to control flash power without adjusting the flash power. This is an index card. This is all I use 90% of the time at events or everyday shoots. And I want to show you how good this is. It works. It's a rubber band with a index card. That's it. It's that simple. Then we're going to switch over to the angler, to the SMDV flip box. Again, V1. And I'm using that arm so I can show you how convenient this thing is, because this makes life so much easier when you want to shoot underneath. And I do that a lot, especially when I'm using a one light setup. This is a godsend. Now, I'm using this on a lightweight stand. This is a pretty heavy arm, not like overly heavy, but it has some weight to it. The other thing is it's a small stand. So if I unscrew this, it'll go right down on this arm. Let me just show you. See? So I have to just lock it into the piece up here and I'm fine. It does work, but obviously it works better on a larger stand because it won't go down. But this locks in just fine on the smaller stand, and it's pretty secure. It worked, but that's what I'm shooting with today. Now, it doesn't matter if you're using ESMDV or the Angler or whichever one you want. I think the Angler is like 159 now. When they first come out, they were like 129. But the same box in ProPhoto is 300. So, but these are great boxes to have. I believe this is the 28. The 24 is really nice. It's a sweet spot. It does work fine. You don't need something as big as the 28. You can get the 24. It'll work great. But I really want to concentrate on this. And again, don't discount this V1. You know, I love the V100. I love the power from it. I love everything about it. But I still love my V1. For the number one reason is it's enough power for 90% of the shoots I do. And you'll see in this one, it's just great. And I don't have to worry about that touch screen. There's no thinking in this. I just turn it on, set it to the power that I want, whether it's on here or here, and I shoot. There's just no thinking involved with this. You know, usually I'm trying to get around 1/8 power in this, so I get plenty of battery power, really good recycle time. And then I'll show you how I adjust the power on this during the shoot live. Before I forget, I'm using the Nikon ZF with the Viltrox 50mm f2 Air. You see this in a lot of videos because I use this all the time. I don't just blow smoke up your ass. These things are fantastic. The new 85 Evo f2, fantastic. I love these lenses. This is a nice setup for this size studio. And you can see the 50mm is great for portraits and people. It works fantastic. You don't always need an 85 because you're shooting a portrait. 50s can do a great job. And this lens, definitely try this lens if you haven't yet. Now on to the shoot. So controlling the flash power is actually pretty easy. It's just tilting the flash. Now I have the dome on there and that index card. If I tilt it down towards the subject, it's going to be a little bit brighter. If I tilt it back, it's going to take some of the light away. It's really that simple. And I can go a full stop and a half, if not more, just by that little tilt. I'll zoom in there just to show you the tilt back and forth. You know, so if I move back further, I'll tilt it towards the person a little bit more. If I move closer, I'll tilt it up more, and that'll reduce the power. It's just that simple. Now, it takes a little bit of practice knowing, you know, what tilt to have, but it works. Now, you'll also see my index finger on that card because I'll actually use my index finger to bend that card down just a little bit. Now, here's one I shot at ISO 400. You can see the backdrop is completely gone. So I'm going to take up the ISO to ISO 1600 to pull in that backdrop even more. I do that a lot at events because I want to show the environment that we're in with an event. You know, they spend a lot of money on the look of their event, and you know, making it disappear because you're using lower ISO is not good. So I'd rather raise the ISO, take down the flash power. And again, for me, it's just a tilt. Now this one I rose up to ISO 3200 to bring that light even, even a lot more in. But it was too bright for me, so I took it back down to 1600 ISO, and this is a happy medium for me. And again, if I move back further, I'll tilt the flash towards the subject more, like that. and it'll give me the light that I need. If I move in a little closer, I'll tilt it back again, and that will reduce the flash power. That's as simple as it is. And all you have to do is practice this a little bit. While you're in your house, just, walk up to a lamp and take a picture of it, and then tilt the flash in, up or down, and you're going to see the difference in the flash power without having to touch the flash power at all. Now we're back in the studio here because I just wanted to show you this flash with this bounce card and what a good job it does. It's not perfect by any means. It's not a big soft box and having the perfect, soft light, but it's still really beautiful light. And it's a little bit softer than just the dome or just a direct flash. And these index cards I just buy from Amazon, a 50 pack at a time. They're just plain white index cards. And I toss them at the end of the night rather than trying to save them because they're really inexpensive. And I bend the heck out of them depending on what kind of environment I'm in. I'll actually bend down that top if there's no, ceiling to bounce off. If I need just a little bit different of a look, I'll bend the heck out of that card during a shoot. But it works. So, that's why I'm showing it to you. Now, again, this V1, don't discount this because I know a lot of you don't want to spend $350 on a flash or $500 on a flash. And when you have a V1 that's, this good, why not get that instead if you're not going to need the V100, or if you don't do this, professionally all the time. I'm a professional and I use it all the time just because I like the weight of it better than the V100. But, for me, I like the V100 when I'm using bigger soft boxes or, different scenarios. I need that little bit more power. But the V1 for every other thing is perfect. I use this at events a lot and the V480 at events a lot. But I like having the extra power on the V1 over the V480 just in case I do have to shoot a large group. Now, these little pop-up soft boxes are great. They're a little bit more expensive than they were when they came out. I think they're, following suit with Profoto with these things, because Profoto's softbox, the 24-inch, is $300, and it's made by SMDV, the same company that made this one. They just double the price. But again, that Angler softbox, you can get those at B&H, I believe. They're inexpensive. They have the adapter in them. You can get the adapter for the V1 or the 8100 or the 8200, I believe. You get what adapter you need, and you can just swap them out. So if you have different lights that you use with it, it's not a problem because the adapters just come out and then you put the one you need in. So it's a nice system and it works really well, but it produces great light. Now that arm on here, I'm able to shoot directly underneath the light. So my shadow's dropping behind her, and I'm shooting directly underneath the light versus, squeezing in close to the light stand and being off just a little bit. It just makes it a little bit more convenient. So I use this quite a bit because I'd rather use this than a full boom arm, like with a big stand and a boom arm. I can use this with a smaller stand, and I don't have to pull out the big boom arm and everything. And I'm getting the same effect. I'm able to shoot underneath it and get that center light when I want that. So that's a nice accessory to have. Again, I think you should have a little bit heavier stand than what I'm using. I use the Manfrotto stands, but there's some heavy duty stands out there that aren't too heavy, aren't too cumbersome to move around and so forth. But again, this works with this. It's just not as stable as I would like it to be. But I didn't have a problem with it during the shoot, so that's a positive thing. Now, I didn't have any misfires with the V1 until the very end because I pumped the flash up a little bit to shoot, rapidly, like 5 times in a row. And I had one misfire during that. But the rest of the time, I was at 1/8 to 1/4 power, and there wasn't an issue. I'm at 1/4 power on this. I'm shooting at ISO 100 at f2.8 or 3.5, give or take. So it's really producing some good light, and the photos look great. And I'm getting head-to-toe coverage because I have that tilted down just a little bit, and I'm feathering it across her, not directly at her. So that gives it, the ability to travel down and get full coverage from head to toe. So again, a small softbox. This is 28 inches, and it works great. Now I'm just going to throw in a quick white reflector so you can see this. So if you're using a one light and you want that up light, just a small white reflector will do. Always put it on a stand. Don't ever have your subject hold your reflector. It's insane to me. You know, they're there for a photo shoot, not to hold your equipment. They're not roadies. They're your subject. You know, get a little adapter and put it on the stand. Anyway, that's my shoot for the day. I wanted to share this with you because, you know, again, a lot of people ask me over and over, what flash should I get? You know, if you can't afford the big one or don't need the big flash, the V1's perfect for this, and it's inexpensive. Thanks for watching.